It's a pleasure to see you all here today. I'm Jason Grillo with AirMiners. And Tito, I want you to take it away with talking about our community, what we're up to, and why we're here today. Go for it.
All right. Hi, everybody. Hi, AirMiners. Thank you for being here. I was just looking through the audience, and I know all of you you're choosing to be here today. I know there's something else you could be doing. There's some prototype that you set down, or some inbox that you closed, or maybe didn't close. And I really want to acknowledge that you're here. I encourage you to stick around for the full hour. We've got a bunch of updates about what's happening at AirMiners. And at the end, we have an opportunity to share your accomplishments in front of everybody else that's here. So our purpose today is to empower you to remove carbon dioxide from the sky. This is an ordinary get-together. This is for everybody that's here, everybody that's raised their hand to remove carbon from the sky. This is an invitation to come join us. Insert yourself wherever you see the opportunity to, whether you're invited to or it's something that you see is missing. AirMiners is the place where you can have a huge impact. You can supercharge yourself and everyone around you, everyone on this call, even the 2,200 AirMiners members that we have registered today. And as I'm looking around the group, I mean, I see so many people who are already, you're super active in carbon removal. I read every registration of people that are here today. You're here, you're soaking up everything in carbon removal. You're learning about everything in carbon removal. Some of you are deploying systems to remove thousands of tons of carbon from the air. One AirMiner is even working on an AirMiners musical. So that was really cool to read about. That's Dan Ribaudo. Shout out to Dan in the chat. And that, I mean, AirMiners musical, I mean, that's like so AirMiners, right? Like there's incredible people everywhere you look. That's from the people that are signing up for events, signing up for boot up, people that are pitching at the accelerator program, applying to the accelerator program, people sharing themselves on Slack, sharing an idea they have. That's AirMiners, is that, incredible energy and potential coming out and coming together. So really excited to be here with all of you today. And for all of you, there's some next level. There's something that you woke up thinking about this morning of, you're here, but you really want to get there. Maybe you're learning carbon removal, but you really want to find a job in carbon removal. Maybe you're building a prototype, but what you really want to do is get some multi-million-dollar deal to remove the carbon from the sky. And we want to not just have you operate in that silo. We want to activate you all so we can all move forward together on that. So like Jason said, we're here today to talk about that. I reviewed all the signups. The most popular questions we got, that's how we've built this update. You want to know about what's the latest with AirMiners, what's the latest with the Kiloton Fund, and you want to get to know the community and the team better. So we've got all of that, and at the end we've got time to share what you've accomplished and what's next. We've done breakout rooms in the past, but this time we're going to keep everybody here in the same room and do that sharing together. So let's go. A reminder of, when I think about these town halls, right? This is our third town hall. And early in my career, I always thought there would be, some playbook for carbon removal or some playbook for how to make this work, right? I used to always tell myself that people like Elon Musk, they had it figured out, right? And if you could just go to them, they'd give you the playbook, and then you do whatever it is that you wanted to make happen, right? Like remove 1 billion tons of carbon. The further I get down this path, the more I am just in awe that we're the ones building the playbook. We're building the playbook for how humanity, for how the universe figures out how to remove 1 billion tons of carbon from the sky by 2030. And so I look at these town halls as, this is a collection of stories as we write the playbook. This is a collection of stories to empower you, to give you ideas about what's working. Maybe you notice it's something that's missing, or there's some other way that you could contribute or create. And inside of that, anything is possible. Look, there is no playbook. We get to write the playbook. We've written the playbook in Town Hall 1 and Town Hall 2, and today we're writing the playbook for Town Hall 3. And it's all towards removing 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide from the air. What that means is creating a stable climate and empowering a thriving human civilization. And I just got to look at that and say, in a world where we've removed 1 billion tons of carbon from the air by 2030, anything is freaking possible, and including creating a civilization, a planet that's ready to go out and venture out to the rest of the universe. So in all that, this is our October 2023 chapter. This updates from the last 3 months and what's ahead. So the next piece I wanted to share is the AirMiners team. You may know some of them depending on kind of where you've interacted in different parts of Launchpad, but I want to welcome up Adina, Deborah, and Jason. Myself, for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Tito, the CEO of AirMiners. And as you can probably tell, I see everybody that raises their hand to become an AirMiner as capable of removing 1 billion tons by 2030. Everything from signing up for Boot Up all the way to pitching investors for millions of dollars at our Launchpad accelerator. Every single one of you is capable of removing that 1 billion tons, and I'm committed to empowering you to make it happen. So I want to introduce you to Adina.
Hello.
Hey, Adina.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Adina. I am the Accelerator Launchpad Director for AirMiners. And, for me, the Launchpad Accelerator has really grown substantially in the last year and some change that I've been involved with AirMiners. It's really become the world leading carbon removal accelerator. And there wasn't a program that had really risen to the level of what we really needed it to be in order to prepare companies to be able to go out, sell carbon removal credits, understand how that process worked, and be able to sell or be able to have investors understand what they were doing such that they would see their companies as an opportunity. And now there is, and the proof is very much in the pudding. I think we're going to have a bit of an update later as to exactly what we've accomplished with regards to that so far. But a little background on me, I'm a serial entrepreneur and I've been where these companies are. I know how hard it can be. And for me, I just want all of these companies to be empowered, to not have it be so lonely at the top, and to have them have the tools that they need to succeed, because that's what's going to make the difference for the next generation, having a world that works for them. So that's a little bit about me. And I believe Deborah is next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deborah Graywolf, and I am the Operations Manager at AirMiners. I have spent my life and my career setting up systems and structures for teams and individuals, and mostly entrepreneurs, to be successful, not only in their business, but in their lives. Tito was talking about that thriving world, and that's really what I'm committed to, creating a world that's going to work after I'm gone so that my kids have something. And I'm out to support the structures that are going to fulfill on that. And you can really rely on me to listen to you as great leaders, because you are, and to support you in your journey. All right, Jason.
Hey, everyone. As I mentioned above, I'm Jason Grillo with AirMiners. It's been my pleasure, my privilege, and my responsibility to work with all of you over the last, 3.5 years that I've been involved with AirMiners, from starting the conferences to doing all the events to helping with getting Launchpad off the ground, helping start the Kiloton Fund, and watching as the Boot Up has grown incredibly over the last couple of years here. I see myself as the kind of integrator of all of this, that got my fingers in a lot of different pies, as we have a lot of different items going on in AirMiners. I like to keep things smoothly moving together so that we are working as a comprehensive team to offer a united program for people throughout all aspects of the carbon removal journey. You know, we're a community of risk takers, right? We are here because we want to harness the innovations that we see in removing greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. That's a very risky proposition, and it helps a lot to have someone along the way at every stage of that journey. And I give myself to you as our community to be able to help you along that pathway, from getting into the industry in boot up to developing ideas in our community, seeing something of interest at our events, getting your startup going, and then maybe even funding it later through the Kiloton Fund, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So that's my responsibility. That's what I enjoy doing. And that's what I pledge to you to execute on as we expand AirMiners in these exciting times. And like I said, it's been a great ride so far, and I'm just feel very happy and privileged to be part of it. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you all. Gosh, my next slide is this is about, you know, what is AirMiners? And I am just struck by that's what AirMiners is. You just heard from Adina, Deborah, and Jason sharing where they're at. You know, like you're here at Town Hall, you know that's what AirMiners is all about. You know, that said, I do get this question a lot, and I like these town halls as an opportunity to kind of pull it together and distill it down. You know, what is AirMiners? AirMiners is the possibility of removing 1 billion tons of carbon from the air by 2030. We empower risk takers to reverse climate change through carbon removal. And so in that, you know, of course, we have an incredible community. We have a successful accelerator program, events and learning programs, and even a fund to buy carbon removal credits from teams. And it all comes back to removing carbon dioxide from the sky. You know, since our last town hall in July, carbon removal is bigger than ever. Frontier announced its new round of purchases, of which a couple of them were AirMiners Launchpad graduates. You'll hear about that later. The Department of Energy announced $35 million of a purchase program buying carbon removal credits. To me, what that means is, I mean, if I look at, you know, carbon removal in 2050 at the stage where we're removing 10 gigatons per year of carbon, the US government is most likely the largest, or at least one of the largest purchasers of carbon removal credits. And just being able to say, look, in between last town hall and this town hall is when they started lining up to make their very first purchases. It's like, wow, that's cool. So we also had more boot up grads than ever, and we've even had 23 new accelerator graduates who are graduating this week from the accelerator program, bringing us to a total of 118 graduates, all working on carbon removal solutions. A lot of times I'm on calls and people ask me, you know, what's AirMiners? And I tell them, oh, we've got, you know, 118 graduates. And then I end up, you know, I sort of start to say a bunch of other things. But right when I say 118, people are like, what? Holy, that's crazy. And it is, right? And if you look back, you know, when AirMiners started in 2017, there were a handful of companies working on carbon removal. And today, the program that we've built is helping empower hundreds of new companies in carbon removal. So let's get to it. The purpose of today is to empower every person that's here, that's you, to remove 1 billion tons of carbon from the air by 2030. Whatever the words are you use, whether it's founder, startup, person finding a job, person learning, whatever it is, we're here for you. And it's never been a better time to remove carbon from the air. I mean, again, going back to that DOE $35 million purchase program, I mean, that echoes forward decades in the growth of carbon removal. And again, there's going to be places where you know we see opportunities for people to pop in. and contribute. And again, you've got your radar on, like if there's something that you see is missing or something you're wondering about, it's go time. Your sense for this stuff is true, and we want to help, you know, unlock you to make that happening. So here's the scaffolding for you know, how AirMiners works. We think of it as learn, start, build, show, deliver. So really, you know, at the beginning, you're learning what's happening. You're starting to come up with ideas for solutions. You're going around AirMiners and sharing what you're thinking. Then you start to build it out, show it to the world, and ultimately deliver carbon removed. That's why AirMiners exists, because all of these pieces aren't present in the world today, except for the work that we're doing at AirMiners and in a larger carbon removal community. We need all of these pieces to happen. That's how we get to 1 billion tons of carbon removed by 2030. So Jason's going to share about the learning and starting pieces. Adina's going to be sharing more about building and showing, and I'll be back to talk about delivering carbon removed. So with that, here's Jason.
All right, thanks, Tito. Once again, to really bring this point home, as Tito mentioned, like, it's people who are learning, people who are taking that risk, people who are kind of sticking themselves out there to learn about carbon dioxide removal from the start. That's where movements begin. That's where we can start to make a difference. That's where people start to feel this tremendous relief of anxiety that they're learning and they're taking action on something that they feel is meaningful. That's why this learn portion of that continuum is so important. So if we want to go to the boot up, I mean, you know, boot up is the entry point for carbon removal. It's, you know, we want to make this as open and accessible a program as we can manage. Our next cohort is going to happen starting in November. So if you know someone who's kind of got an inkling toward carbon removal, the call to action now is to get them to sign up for Boot Up by October 30th at bootup.airminers.org. We don't do much advertising for Boot Up, just to be clear. The growth that we've seen in Boot Up has entirely been through organic growth. People like you, people who are talking about this with their friends, people who are, you know, posting about their experience on Boot Up themselves on LinkedIn, on AirMiners Slack, hey, or you know, Twitter, whatever medium you want to express your interest in carbon removal. Boot Up, that's how we've grown Boot Up to where it is today. We had our largest cohort of registrants ever with the Boot Up cohort that just graduated, of 115 people who've registered, compared against 108 who registered in July. And we want to expand that even further in the future, because we as an industry are going to need to get more people involved, to start more companies, to join companies, to execute better on their jobs. It always amazes me to, you know, I've been to a couple of, you know, in person carbon removal conferences over the last couple of months here, and it always amazes me, like how many people who are in some really fairly high level roles in carbon removal say, yeah, I'm a Boot Up graduate. Like, what? Okay, great. That's the trajectory that we're on, because we are at an early stage of the industry, and you can still make an impact simply by putting yourself into a Boot Up course, taking that first step for the journey of the 1,000 miles, as they say, and spending the 6 weeks in Boot Up for free, so that you can learn about carbon removal from a high level with a cohort of peers. And I've heard numerous stories of people who are still in contact with their Boot Up Boot Up cohort friends. Grant Faber says carbon removal needs more TikTok influencers. Challenge accepted, Grant. There are workings in place. So you know, so let's have a conversation, Grant. I know we're talking later today, actually, but let's consider that. But like I said, Boot Up, things are moving quickly. Great story I have is the fellow I was talking with just as we're getting started, Craig, who joined Boot Up and new to carbon removal and now works at Climate Vault. Right? Those are the kinds of stories that we've seen played out numerous times for Boot Up graduates. And this is something that we feel is important for our AirMiners community and for the industry more generally. Moving on to our other ways that we learn in our events. Our events are, again, the topical expression of certain things that certain comings and goings that we want to emphasize in our community. So as an example, we got some inkling of, hey, small businesses might be interested in buying carbon removal. We've seen some interesting data. So we ran an event on that. We heard from people in the industry, some leaders that, a lot of carbon removal startups don't know much about how to develop and scale their first of a kind pilot facility to be a many of a kind pilot facility. So that's why I ran from demo to pilot to large scale, how to engineer that, how to develop that. Our communicating trust and integrity event. That's something that a group of people from our community, Carolyn Gunthika, Tank Chen, Michael Suppresso, and approached me and said, hey, let's run this event. And so, we did that. So if you know of an event topic that would be of interest to you, talking about through panelists, having a panel, an event with speakers, we don't do slides, but to have people talk in a discussion of what is important to you, what will move the industry forward, please come find me on Slack, come email me. This is an idea that I think would go really well with our community, because I've heard from others that this is a real big problem that we want to unearth. This is what I mean when I say that it's fantastic working with the leadership team. I'm very grateful for that, but it's really people like you in the community who make AirMiners what it is. A lot of what we do is just an expression of what we see in the community. We are we do so through the grace of you all in our AirMiners ranks. So that's Boot Up and events, and why we do what we do in those programs. So let's keep going. And for starting things up, this is something that we are going to be talking about in future, how to start new things, how to ignite that spark of interest in carbon removal companies. If you are interested in starting a carbon removal company, this is a new program that we are working on, a new series of events called the Carbon Removal kind of Open Canvas. This is a 10-sentence exercise pitch workshop to talk about your company, to think of 10 sentences for your brand new startup that express what your company is doing. Our first event on this is November 15th at 9 a.m. Pacific. As much as Slack is best for open discussion, the Carbon Canvas program is something that we are going to use to cycle through and get people to express what it is about their brand new carbon removal company that we like to see. You see the picture of the carbon removal AirMiners mascot from 2017, a machine that, yes, is eating clouds and yes, is pooping out carbon. So it's that kind of duct taping stuff together, getting the idea that you have off the ground. That's what we want to focus on. If you feel like you're too early for Launchpad, this is where you slot in to work with us in the Carbon Removal Canvas to develop your idea so that you can truly express what the value is for the startup that you're getting going on. We tried with ideas, needs, and leads. It is going to take a little while to see some of that work through, and we still have our ideas, needs, and leads channel to be the space to talk about that. 10 sentences might be too many, says Adam Gordon. Well, that's not for external messaging, to be clear. It's how you internally message about your own ideas. Like, what is it that you do? What is the narrative that you tell yourself? What is it that you want to achieve? So that when you have a 30-second elevator pitch with someone, you can just rattle that off really quickly. Not so much about slogans, but rather about a narrative that you can develop about your company. So thank you for that, Adam. Exactly. Think of it as a mini pitch. So that's what we're doing to get things started, to provide that sort of tinder to ignite this, to ignite a fire that will develop new carbon removal companies. And with that, I just want to say thank you once again, and we'll cede the floor to our next section, which is building, and what Adina's going to be talking about in Launchpad.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Jason. All right, so there you are. You've gone through our mini pitch workshop. You figured out how to articulate what on earth you're doing such that another human being can understand you and actually want to join your team. And maybe angel investors want to give you a little bit of money so you can build out your prototype. And now you've actually started to remove some carbon with your little prototype. And you're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I go to the next step? How do I actually sell carbon removal credits? That's not exactly obvious. Or how do I raise like a real round of funding? And what's an appropriate amount of funding to raise? And what percentage equity should I give up for that? And how do I do negotiations for all of that? That is where Launchpad is designed to meet you. So that's when Launchpad comes in. So far, we've had a bunch of grads. We had 95 teams prior to batch 9. We have an additional 23 teams that are graduating right now. We are interviewing for batch 10 next week. And one of the things that we had last town hall was a challenge, because we wanted this to be our largest group of graduates coming out of a batch ever, which it was. And we really want to thank all of these folks who referred teams. So all y'all are going to get thanks a tons if you haven't already. Thank you so much for getting the word out. And don't stop now. We've got more. Don't stop believing. We've got more. The applications for batch 10 are closed, but batch 11, which is going to be starting in January, are going to be opening soon. And so if you know somebody that is at that kind of critical moment where they're looking at, how do I sell carbon removal credits? How do I raise my next round of investment? And all of those pieces of complexity, send them the link to apply to Launchpad. We would love to hear from them. In terms of what we have done with Launchpad, there's a couple of things that are really awesome. Let's see, there's a zooming in thing. Somebody want me to do anything there? You're just moving to the next slide. Just moving to the next slide. Okay, cool. All right, just checking. For Frontier purchases, Frontier announced their purchases in the fall, and 4 of those were Launchpad grads. So AirHive, a director capture company out of the UK, some of whom the early team is on the call today. Hi, Ari. They received a purchase for 943 tons. Alki Earth, enhanced rock weathering. It's actually enhanced weathering using slag, steel slag. They received a purchase for 1,351 tons. Carbon Atlantis, director capture out of Germany, 275 tons. And Project Mati, enhanced weathering in the US and in India, a purchase of 1,513 tons. So really, really big deal. There were only 12 purchases, right? And so a huge percentage of them were Launchpad grads. And we're seeing that there's a lot of success of our grads coming out and being able to articulate to buyers what on earth they're doing, how there's real co-benefits. So we're super excited about the success of our companies going through Frontier, and there's other programs like it, like Klarna and Milky Wire, and we've had success there too. So we're just going to keep you updated as our teams get more purchases. Exciting stuff. Another thing that we want to talk about is that we have a new program we're developing. That's an extension of Launchpad. It's what we're calling the DAC Pioneers. It's under development. Now, for everybody that's not DAC, don't worry. This is like a sneak peek preview as to what we think we're going to be doing for other verticals of removal methodology. But we were a winner of the Phase 1 Department of Energy DAC Epic Prize, which is really exciting. So we got $100,000 to really start to develop this program and propose new programming that are going to support innovators. And we really appreciate the letters of support from Carbon 180, Heirloom, ASU, and Carbon Blade. It really made a huge difference. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We're going to be applying for the next phase of this grant. So if we have more folks that want to say nice things about us, we would definitely appreciate that. But in the bottom line is that when you come out of Launchpad, yes, you have figured out, how to raise money. And okay, great. Now, how are you going to use that money to actually scale up your direct air capture technology in this particular case for this vertical? And there's a bunch of challenges that people have. There's questions about like, okay, how do I find a storage partner? When's the appropriate time to find a storage partner? How do I work with technology like contract technology development firms? How do I file my patents? How do I do testing facilities? There's a bunch of testing facilities that are theoretically free, but how do I work with those folks? So the DAC Pioneers program is really going to work at how do we get people access to these different resources and guide them in that process so that way they can really leverage it to take their companies to the next level. So that's what's happening there. And as I said, sneak peek preview, we'd love to do this with other verticals like ocean or other ones that have like, a lot of needs for permitting. So ocean's a big one, mineralization, things like that. So stay tuned. Okay. So next up is show. We have, as you know, we have demo days, right? And so one of the things is it's great for people to be building things, but at the end of the day, unless you show other people what you're doing and communicate in a way that's really effective, you're not going to get more people on board with your vision. And so teaching people how to show what they're doing to the world in a way that's really compelling is a big focus of Launchpad. And to that end, we have two major events that we run on an almost quarterly basis, which is Investor Demo Day and Buyer Demo Day. And to our knowledge, these are the largest events that gather investors that are specifically interested in carbon removal and buyers that are interested in carbon removal anywhere on Earth. There are no other large convenings like this where they're specifically looking at either investing in companies or buying carbon removal from companies. And we have our next demo days coming up next week. So Wednesday, the 25th of October, 9 a.m. Pacific, we have Investor Demo Day. And then Thursday, the 26th, we have Buyer Demo Day. If you know buyers that are not already attending, please invite them to Buyer Demo Day. And if you know investors that have not been to one of our demo days in the past, please invite them. We are looking to grow this community to be even bigger because the more folks we have participating, the more cash that's circulating in the ecosystem to have these companies succeed. So please share that information. And then once you've raised the amount of money you need, then you start to deliver carbon removal. So Tito's here to talk about the deliver part of our journey.
Yes, that is ultimately what it's about, is delivering carbon removed from the sky. That's why we're here, because when we add carbon dioxide to the sky, the plant heats up. There's tipping points, and we go from a stable climate to a chaotic climate. And so delivering on carbon removal that's what all of this adds up towards. For AirMiners, the form that takes is our Kiloton Fund, which we announced last town hall. And so now this town hall, we've since had our application process open and close. We've had 120 applications. for the Kiloton Fund. And as you know from last town hall, this is really about how do we close this critical funding gap for early stage companies in terms of getting teams to succeed long term, getting them the early funding that they need. This is something that's been in the works for a long time, and we're really thrilled that it's public. We've opened up about it, the applications. Now the applications are closed, and now we get to look forward, start peeking ahead towards the setting up the Megaton Fund, and whatever it is that might come after the Megaton Fund, on to removing 1 billion tons of carbon by 2030. So we saw a ton of great companies apply. We're reviewing the applications now, and that's the update on the Kiloton Fund. The next bit is, each town hall we think of, what's something that we can really call the community's attention to, something we could really use help, use perspective. And for that, it's off-takers for the Kiloton Fund. So we've got all these teams streaming in who are looking to sell their credits to the Kiloton Fund. And where we need your input is connecting with other potential buyers of the Kiloton Fund. And so that's our challenge for this town hall. If you know anybody that's looking to buy carbon removal credits from a large corporation, from a large government, would be happy to get connected, and please make that connection over email. Like all of our challenges, we also recognize you for your contribution by giving you thanks a ton, thank you cards. And so anybody who makes an introduction, whatever happens to that introduction, you'll get a thanks a ton card. So that's our contribution to the community this time, in a sense of saying, look, here's something that we do need help with. And again, as with all things AirMiners, maybe there's something today that you've heard or you've seen something that's missing, and I encourage you to just raise your hand, take action on all of those things. This was intended as a lightning rod for bringing people together around this specific challenge. So what's next is, now we're going to switch gears a bit. We've got a framing, a opportunity for you to share what this quarter was like for you. And we're going to be centered around these two questions. What have you accomplished this quarter? And what are your goals for the next quarter? We're going to be doing it through Mentimeter. So I'm going to load up that link, and Deborah's going to paste that in the chat. But this is, to me, this is an opportunity for you to reflect on what you accomplished this quarter. Look, I get that it's easier to focus on what didn't work, right? I spend probably half my life or more thinking just about what didn't work. Oh, I had a meeting yesterday where I coming out of it, I was like, oh man, I wish I had prepared a lot more for that. And look, I get it. It's alluring to focus on what didn't work or what you didn't accomplish. This is the opportunity for you to share, what did work, what did you accomplish? Because look, that's the stuff that when we get to 1 billion tons of carbon removed in 2030, we're going to look back and we're going to have a record of the things that you did do. That's what's going to actually get us there. So could be signing up for a new job, graduating from Boot Up, pitching your company, overcoming some blocker that you had, and sharing yourself with the community, sharing carbon removal with your family, whatever it is. When I say that, that word, what did you accomplish this quarter? That's what's there for you. So I encourage everybody to open up this link. I'm gonna switch over the screen to share what's popping up on Mentimeter. But yeah, everybody pop open that link, and you can enter as many things as you want. So feel free to say, hey, you accomplished this, you accomplished that. And let me switch over my screen here. All right, we've got initial grant funding for proof of concept bench prototype development. Wow, cool. I've been leading a $5 million research project in carbon removal. Did a buttload of work for CDR companies and looked sexy while I was doing it. Yes, job, refined value proposition to help clients reduce their emission via cap and trade markets. Thanks Boot Up and Jason for the intro to carbon to CDR. Took fellowships from Climate-Base and OPF. Build a high-powered network, found and joined AirMiners, and am in the next boot camp. Congratulations. Applied to many jobs and actually have some conversations ongoing. Love it. Started work at a carbon rule project. We've been asked to bid on another 500,000 something. Finished Boot Up. Congratulations on finishing Boot Up. Completed Launchpad. Had one of our accelerator companies from batch 5 raise $7 million. So excited about them. Started a new company, a development company, and a new job that pairs SMEs with carbon removal. Got accepted into the MHub Climate and Energy 6-month Hard Tech Accelerator Program. Received funding to build demo-sized DAC unit. Hey, could that person come up and share the funding for a demo-sized DAC unit? Do you want to come up and share what happened there? What's that about? You can just unmute and come off video if that works. Graduated.
Hi, that was me. Sorry.
Hey, what's up?
My name's Andrew with Nelly Technologies. We just received funding a few months ago to build a demonstration-sized unit that we could take to, different events, etc.
Congratulations. That's really great to hear. Thanks for sharing that with all of us. I wanted to go back to, let's see, completed our first Frontier pilot project for 2023, 4,500. Who is this? Do you want to come up and share what you're up to?
Sure, this is Sean from Alkali Earth.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, good to see you. Yeah, we just got back from visiting our first pilot site yesterday and taking field samples, but we completed our Frontier deployment, what we committed to them. That's actually 4,500 short tons, about 4,000 metric tons of slag. And I'd have to go back, look at the numbers, 250 to 300 tons of net removal by the end of the contract.
Congratulations. Let's go.
That's this year, and next year it'll be much bigger.
Yeah, I get it. I want to hear from somebody finished Boot Up. Who is that? Do you want to share what that was like? If you want to come up?
Yeah, that was me.
Hey, how do you say your name?
Lenore, but I'm not picky how people say it.
Lenora, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I was in Team Palm, and I think we lost nobody during the course of Boot Up.
Congratulations. What's next for you? I guess that's actually our next question. Never mind. We'll get to that one.
Good.
Let's start thinking about it. Let's see. What else do we have?
Made more biochar. Yay.
Made more biochar. 3 exclamations worth. Love it. Move the free Earth DAC into a testing phase and should see hard numbers data any day. Tested magnetic pitch method for climate CDR ocean startups with 5 awesome founders. Expediting the funding process from idea to impact. Love it. For intrepid entrepreneurs. All right. Thank you, everybody. Really love this. All these accomplishments. Congratulations to all of you. That accomplished other things that didn't make it here into the Mentimeter poll. Really grateful that you're sharing this with all of us. Next up, we've got the next question, which is same link. If you haven't clicked the link, you don't need to go anywhere. As I hit this button, the next question is going to pop up. So next question is, what are your goals for next quarter? That was the question I was talking with Lenora about. And so, yeah, would love to have people throw in, what are their goals for the next quarter? What are you thinking about? Look, I really encourage you to go for this one. This is anonymous, right? So you don't have to, put your name to it, but it's a chance for you to share what you're committed to. If you got something you want to put up there that you're like, oh, maybe I don't want to put that up. I encourage you to just put it up. It might inspire the next person. Even if you say something like you want to remove a megaton of carbon in the next quarter, cool, game on. It can help crack open how people are thinking about what's next for them in carbon removal. It doesn't have to be carbon removal, by the way. If you're like, I want a sports car, you can throw that in there too. Yeah, let's see what we've got coming in. Give a presentation to high schoolers on CDR. get a job in CDR, bring on more students and secure more funding. XPRIZE final submission, yes. Needs to finish testing the pilot before February 2024. Write more, read more, keep planning for my future in CDR. Proof of concept. I'd love to hear more about that one if you want to throw that into the Mentimeter, like proof of concept of what? Again, just like use this as an opportunity to say, like, I'm going to do this, and say that in front of AirMiners. It can open up some things for you. Learn about the intersection between geopolitics and CDR. Yes, there is an intersection. Retire more CO2 from the atmosphere. I'm trying to figure out how to get offtake agreements started for my projects so we can model out the scale up. And I want health and happiness for AirMiners. I love it. I want that too. Begin production on our first commercial biochar production system. Complete A-round investment. Finish boot camp. Find either a full-time employee or a set of gigs to help climate companies succeed. I've done it for many tech companies, and now I'm highly committed to helping climate companies succeed. Create a clear pathway for DAC companies to scale the next level. Specifically expand on what the common mistakes are for early stage DAC companies so our teams can avoid those road bumps. Help AirMiners get the funding they deserve via find funding faster. Find funding faster. You can say that 10 times fast, no problem. Expand my network. I want to learn something new about how people are thinking. I want to network with more fellow AirMiners. I want to set up more learning opportunities with AirMiners. Proof of concept for thanks a ton. Really looking for ways to connect with people outside the CDR community. I'm curious about that one. Does that person want to come up and share what's your proof of concept? How are you looking to connect? As I'm saying, it starts to think like, okay, maybe there's something that people here can help you with. Just come off mute if that's a fit for you. And if not, stay where you're at.
Hey, Tito, it's Laura.
Hey, Laura, what's happening? Tell us about this. What's your goal for the next quarter?
Well, we are really looking for ways to connect with people that don't know about carbon dioxide removal. So I was looking at the 10 sentences event that you have coming up. Maybe that would help me to hone the pitch to people outside of our community, because just trying to even explain what CDR is, and then how it's important to them, and then how our solution can help them to engage in a climate solution easily with no friction. We've done all the heavy lifting. So how was this beneficial to them? That's our big question.
That's your big question. How is this beneficial to them? Get yourself to that pitch session. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for what you're grappling with. I'm curious, there was a person up here who wanted to give a presentation to high schoolers on CDR. Do you want to come up and share what that goal is? And to me, it kind of builds on what Laura's talking about.
Yeah, that was mine.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I was just about to reach out to like my old high school science teacher. I think I had like chemistry or something there, but I think she teaches in AP environmental science now. So I was like, man, this is when I go home for the holidays, this could be a perfect opportunity to go in and spread the gospel a little bit about CDR, get people pumped up, get them excited, get them thinking, and yeah, I'm going to try to make it happen.
Oh, I love that. Make it happen, working with your teachers and high schoolers. Thanks for that, Grant. I want to hear from this accomplishing a lab validation study for turning captured CO2 into rocks via ex situ mineralization. Who's that? You can unmute and
That's me. That's Jordan.
Jordan, tell us about this one.
So I'm working out of the M-Hub Climate and Energy Accelerator, and I have come up with a way to more or less inject CO2 into a saltwater brine, and it turns it into a rock called Nescajonite. And I've been able to do it in the field and come up with these, really cool way of mineralizing CO2 that doesn't really need advanced storage, but I need to kind of do a validation study to show that it actually works in a lab environment, and have either Underwriters Laboratory or something like that sort of put a stamp of approval on it for how it works. So that's what I'm going to be doing this winter.
I love it. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, I'm just really seeing how, I opened up saying at the beginning of AirMiners, like, seeing everybody as capable of moving 1 billion tons. And I'm hearing all the people that have been sharing, and whether it's from education to prototyping to lab validation studies. I mean, this is AirMiners, right? Like when somebody asks what is AirMiners, I'm like, go watch this freaking video. I want to hear from, let's see, we've got the person who said finish boot camp, find either a full-time employee or set of gigs to help climate companies succeed. You want to come up and share more about what your goal is there?
That would be me.
Adam, what's
Hi,
up?
everybody. Yeah, so the last one that I put in was did the OPF and climate-based fellowships, and I'm signed up for your guys, not Launchpad, but boot camp, starting in a couple of weeks. And you know, I've been a fractional CMO, VP of marketing, whatever you want to call it, for a number of different tech companies for a number of different years, and have caused a lot of them to really grow a lot faster. I really do help them accelerate growth by what I do. And as our species survival might depend on climate companies being equally successful, that's where I'm turning my attention. And so I am happy to help anybody on this call or in the group who needs help with messaging, marketing, figuring out what story to tell. That's what I do.
All right, you're in the right spot. Thanks for being here, Adam.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me.
Let's get one more goal. Who's got another goal? Let's talk about launch an insurance product for Article 6 political risk. What the heck is that? You want to come share what you're up to?
Hey, Tito, that's me. That's me.
Hey.
Sorry, my camera's on. I'm at a conference today. Yeah, so we've got an insurance live already for delivery risk. The main exclusion is political risk. So everyone asks us about it, and it's if credits are issued overseas somewhere, can they be traded or transferred internationally without the government trying to keep them in the domestic market or taking a haircut? So everyone asks us about it. So we're trying to build a product to solve that problem. So watch this space.
Whew, I love that. Thanks, James. James, what's your experience been like with AirMiners?
Oh, also, I was a Budok grad, so that was the bit that got me convinced that CDR had some real legs. I think I mentioned to you when we met in London over the summer, the quality of the people in the Budok, VCs, PhD oceanographers, just convinced me that there's enough intellectual horsepower going into the space. It's going to be a cool place to be. So thanks for setting it all up. I'm a big fan of the group.
You're very welcome. I'm a big fan too. Awesome. Well, look, everybody, thanks for that. I am just like, wow, this is the best town hall ever. I'm so grateful to hear all of this from you, and I imagine that you're also, inspired hearing what's happening here. So that's been our third town hall. Really looking forward to coming back with all of you in December, closing it out. We've got the Carby Awards closing out the end of the year, and our next town hall. Again, just really appreciate that all of you you're here, you're making it happen. This is the third chapter in the Remove 1 Billion Tons playbook. We're the ones that are writing it every step of the way. And so it's really, I really appreciate being here with all of you today. So with that, I'll turn over to Jason to give us some closing notes here. And get the slides shared.
Great. Thank you, Tito. And thank you to all of you for being part of our community, and thank you for attending today. Again, per usual, I'm just struck by the level of energy that I see in our community and the amount of risk taking that people are willing to do in order to make their vision of a future climate a reality. And if that's the spirit that's going to carry us forward in the future, then we've talked about our goal of removing a cumulative 1 billion tons by the end of 2030. With this event as a demonstration of that spirit, with what I see every day in AirMiners, we're going to get to that goal sooner than anyone thinks. I do believe that. And I feel like we are on a track. We can be on track to do that Larry Page is famous for saying, think about what physics says is possible and then work backwards from that. The physics say that this is possible. And every day, I hope that we can make that vision come true to get to that first billion tons of CO2 that's no longer damaging our climate for the future. And with that, I just want to leave you and say thank you once again. Deb's going to share some links about our future events. We're doing an event at Verge next week in San Pedro Market Square. For those of you who are going to be there, in San Jose, we have our upcoming open canvas session that's going to happen on November 15th. Additionally, we've talked about investor demo day, buyer demo day. I'm going to share an additional link for our next public panel event, which is happening on October 31st, Halloween, about non-soil applications of biochar in particular. And here it comes. There it is. Look on our Luma calendar page for that. Got a host of speakers set up that should be a very, very interesting panel discussion on ways that we can make good on non-soil applications of biochar. These are exciting times for carbon removal, and I look forward to sharing in that with all of you going forward. So with that, just want to say thank you once again. Oh yes, one last thing. Here are our emails to ask us anything you want. Tito at airminers.org, Jason at airminers.org, Adina at airminers.org. Reach out to us if you've got ideas about ways we can do better at what we're trying to achieve. This is what I'd like to hear. This is what we'd like to hear from you. And that's the way we make AirMiners to be what it is today. So through the input from people like yourselves in our community. So thanks once again, and we'll see you soon.